one to many. It's special to me. And of course, as you look at that front cover on your program tonight, it's special to me because there's quite a story behind this. It's really about a man by the name of Pat Cowan. Pat Cowan was a man that faced many challenges. And I'm going to share a little bit of a step out on a limb, and not to get too personal, but I want to share from the heart that, you know, there's people that have had challenges. Many of us in agriculture, our governor is one that has experienced challenges when she lost her father and she came back to run the operation. Pat Cowan had 9 children. He was married to Elaine. And Elaine Carmody, and they had a young boy, I think his name was Patrick. Isn't that right, Ty? Yeah. Doug. They lost Doug as a young boy at an accident on their ranch. Some panels, I believe, fell on him. Terrible thing. Had a terrible impact on their mother. And they lost Elaine. She passed away. And Pat was left with 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. And he raised those 8 children. And they had this yellow horse that came along, and of course Pat was on the racetrack, and he was a horse trainer and extremely advanced. He's partners with Tex Fulton, and he was partners with, of course, good friends with Clarence Berry, partners with Stanley Johnson, the first individual from South Dakota to ever go into the AQHA Hall of Fame. Pat was partners and a wonderful friend to many, including my dad, and of course many other horse breeders. Anybody that had a little fight in him, Pat liked as a good friend. He liked to kind of have a good debate. Good, but a good friend. Give you the shirt off of his back. And comes along this beautiful yellow colt that he acquired from Stanley Johnson, Sunfrost. The boys had had 2 or 3 others that were very successful on that. Docs Jack Frost, Driftwood Ike Mare, Prissy Klein, that cross was very successful. They cleaned house all over every level of rodeo. Pat was proud of those kids and raised those kids by himself. Sunfrost was born in 1979. I think Ty would have been a freshman in high school or something like that. The other children, older, and then come another tragedy. Sunfrost was 6 years old. I guess you could say probably Pat's dream, his dream horse. Golden Palomino, was excited to put him on them John Red mares, them Orphan Drift mares, which he did. And then Pat was killed in a plane crash. The thing that's admirable about this story, this challenge, that's so special to me, is that family didn't quit. They kept going with Sunfrost. They kept going with those mares. They honored their father and their mother. They didn't give up. And they have made a success. This last year, as a result, 40 years later, we go to the National Finals Rodeo. There's 13 horses at the NFR with Sunfrost in their pedigree. This year, coming up in September, we are going to go to Amarillo, Texas, and we're going to place this beautiful Palomino on that wall. He'll go into the Hall of Fame. The first stallion ever out of South Dakota to go to the Hall of Fame. We are so proud of people that face challenges, that got grit and determination, they don't quit, and those that honor their legacy. And this is short, so I'll read it because it's in the program. Induction into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame is the highest industry honor that can be bestowed upon a human or an equine. Those chosen for induction are recognized for their lifetime of accomplishments and service. 6 horses and 7 AQHA members have been chosen for induction into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2022. Bred by Stanley Johnson, the first and only man in the Hall of Fame from South Dakota, and owned by Cowan Brothers, would show consideration and promise as a young cutter, but even greater promise as a sire. The 1979 Palomino Stallion was by Docs Jack Frost and out of the Driftwood mare Prissy Klein. Sunfrost became the head of a broodmare band rich in the blood of the Stanley Johnson bred horses. By the mid-1990s, Sunfrost was one of North Country's most celebrated sires, thanks to his progeny French Flash Hawk, of course known as Bozo, and Frenchman's Guy. Sunfrost sired the earners of more than 2.2 million and is the grandsire of the earners of more than 14 million in barrel racing, roping, cutting, reining. Sunfrost died in 2007. Let's welcome to the stage Ty Cowan and family, whoever wants to come. And let's honor Pat Cowan and Sunfrost. Family, what an honor. And we all wish that Dad could be here to see this accomplishment. But thank you guys for seeing it through. The Cowan family, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're good. Who's good with the mic? Okay, you can announce.
Well, we'll get started here. There's quite a few of them. My wife, Renee, you know Ty, his wife, Jill, my sister, Mary, Dr. Logan Cowan, fiance, Jarrett, and Telson, my son, Tevin, Randy, married to Mary, Kaylee, my sister, little Kenna, Carson, Pat, Brittany, Bree Lynn, Joe Carmody, Kevin Rognes, if you can't see, you'll have to stand up, Talon Carmody, Hayden Cowan, Alyssa Cowan, Ty Cowan, Sydney Cowan, Trey Cowan. How'd I do? Okay, that's all I'm good for. I'm gonna hand it over to Ty.
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. Torque and Treg and I, the one thing that we figured out early in the game that we actually did brilliant, in my opinion, is we picked our parents very wisely. And you as we're growing up, you've got Stanley Johnston, my dad, and some of the guys that Jim was talking about, and you listen to everything that's going on in the quarter horse world all over the country, and they talk about legends. And I look back and look at the opportunity that we had to listen to Stanley or my dad and the friends that he had. And hell, we were around legends, and I didn't realize it at the time, but you look at what those guys accomplished, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it truly is. You look at what Stanley was doing, and he was ahead of his time. And so anyways, the one thing that I'd tell you guys, that Yellow Stud, all of the stuff you guys know about him, that there is a lot of stuff that goes with him that's other than the performance side of things. And whether it be tied to my dad and mother or to our dad and mother and whatnot, what a hell of an honor to be involved with those caliber of horses. And as Jim said, if you're a dumb farm kid from South Dakota, which would be me, and you stand there and look at all of the stuff that yellow horse has touched and all of the families that he's touched, it's pretty humbling. I'd certainly like to have a visit with Dad and Stanley, 10 minutes, and it'd be absolutely, one of the neatest things that we could do. But Torque and Treg and I took off and tied into the deal, and the first sale that we had, we went quite some time after Dad got killed, and for lack of a better way to put it, we just survived. And we got to the point to where we decided to have a sale. And to be frank with you, we knew the horses were good ranch horses. They fit us good and whatnot. We had no idea the impact that they had on the rest of the country. And so we put a deal together, and we called Lynn Weisauer and Jay George, and we had a horse sale in Rapid City, South Dakota. And I think if you ask Lynn, he'd probably done a lot of sales by that time, but I'll guarantee you he learned quite a little bit that day. We weren't smart enough to be scared, and he knew it. But with that said, thank you guys. What a great honor. I couldn't be any more proud to be involved with this horse. And the one thing when they were talking about Sunfrost and whatnot, I look down here and I see Jim and Steve Sutton. And I don't mean to pick on Trey, but I'm gonna. When Sunfrost was 2, Dad and Stanley decided we were gonna cut on him, and we did. And somehow or another, that stud's tail got ate plumb off, right to the bone. So Dad put a deal together, and we went and pulled the Palomino horse's tail out. And when I was high school rodeo, and Trey would have been 9 or 10, and it was Trey's job to keep track of the bag that had the extra hair in it. And what he did is we super glued that tail in there. And if you look close at that picture, you can see that tail don't hang right. And it don't hang right because there's super glue all over that tail. So when we were rodeoing, I was pretty busy, and Steve took very, very good care of Trey. Hell, he was powdering flanks, doing all sorts of stuff, and I've always had a lot of respect for you guys because I looked back and they were very kind to him. He was kind enough to let him blow what Steve had called the bucking horse horn, and they filled it with powder. And when you blow on it, that powder comes right back in your face. Except he wasn't smart. He sent Treg to do it to someone else. And I don't know what queen that was, but I'll bet $1 she's still mad at him. Thank you guys very, very much. I couldn't be any more honored. And Jim Price, thank you. You and I went to school together, and you must have went to class. Thank you guys.
We're proud of the Kahn family. They lost their dad. They raised each other, and they followed through with the dream. So, you guys, thank you. Please go join and take a picture with our lovely governor. What a great story. And Kaylee, here we go. We want to present you in memory of your dad and the great Yellow Sunfrost. Beautiful girls. Thank you. God bless. Thank you guys. Enjoy your family. Enjoy our governor, lieutenant governor, and president. And plan to go to that Hall of Fame induction in September.